Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Money is a game most people don't even know they're playing. I don't want to make a video where I talk about gamifying your money. I actually think that's a mistake. I've heard Mindy Jensen a few times talk about how she doesn't like it when people talk about making money a game. But money is a game, and most people don't know they're playing. I have a problem with making it a game where you come up with an app, where an app has a chime or a sound and it doesn't feel like real money and you're kind of gambling with your money. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't want to make money a game. I want to point out you're already in a game, you're already playing. Are you aware of it? And there are some games I could use. I don't want to use Cash Flow, a game created by Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that's more of a game for practicing the game of money. I want to talk about a game that lets you know you're in a game called the game of money. Totally agree, Levita. Life is a game. Do you know you're playing? That's the question. So I'm not going to use Cash Flow. I don't want to use Monopoly because I actually believe in the socialist viewpoint that Monopoly was created as a game to try to prove the point, real or not, that capitalism ends with people against each other. And the entire theory or idea of end stage capitalism is theoretical. It's never happened. So people can say all kinds of negative things. I'm not going to use Monopoly. It's a little too closely related to real estate too, because you actually buy properties. But I like the meme of imagine playing the game of Monopoly but never buying anything and just going around every week or every day collecting a paycheck. Imagine how that game would turn out for you. I want to look at a game like that's been around for centuries, that a lot of people play. Some people think they're better than they are, and some people don't understand it at all. But I will explain some things about this game that relate to the game of money. And when I talk about playing chess, people will often think, well, that means you want to play several moves ahead of your opponent, which means you don't understand chess yet. And because that's an element of it. If people say things with money like, I want a certain amount of money to retire, it means you don't understand the game of money yet, because it's not an amount. It's a monthly recurring amount that you don't have to sell your life for 1 hour at a time in order to be able to retire. And then some people will say, well, I want to play checkers because I'm like Dion, I'm the lazy person. I don't want to learn all the rules and know how to play chess. So if you're playing checkers, here's the problem with chess, checkers, that when we relate it to the game of money, here's the problem. In checkers or chess, you have one opponent. Right? You are playing against yourself, you're trying to better yourself, but you're playing against the person on the other side of the board. If you're playing money like you play checkers, you're actually in a game of Chinese checkers and you don't realize it. You have multiple opponents in the game of money, right? And some people understand some of these, right? You can say, well, the first opponent that I have with my money is the government because they make it. It's not real. They can take it away anytime they want. They can tax me on it. They can punish me for making it in the way that they don't like, right? They punish you by having a job because the government doesn't want employees. They don't want you to have a job. We need innovation and we need housing. So we go, if you're an employee, we're going to tax you like 40% if you add in all the things like Social Security and state and Medicaid. But if you run a business, because we need innovation, we're only going to tax you 21%. And if you're an investor and you create housing, we'll let you depreciate that and pay zero taxes, right? So you have to understand that's an opponent. The government is an opponent in the game of money. The next opponent, right? The idea is, for most people, the majority of people, what do? We go out and get a job. We get out of the forced education we have as a younger person, and we move out of our parents' house, or we start a job while we live with our parents, and we think, okay, I'm going to work at a company. I'm going to be on the company's team, and me and the boss, like, we're going to grow the company. I'm going to have ideas, and I'm going to make money there, and I'm going to sell my life 1 hour at a time. And you don't realize your boss is your opponent. I've been the boss, and I have people who once they reach this conclusion, they realize no boss is ever on the same team as you, because what is the boss's job? The boss's job, like yours, is to contribute to the company and to create money and to create value for that company, or you don't have your job and they don't have their job. But the boss's job in relation to you, my job in relation to the employees that I had, here's what your boss's job is. It's their job to figure out the least amount of money that they can pay you, and you'll stay. right? There's a caveat, and you'll stay. Yes, some bosses are trying to get you a raise, but it is the smallest amount of a raise that they can get you and keep you around because they have a margin that they need to maintain to keep their position. So then other people are like, okay, so I'm playing this game of checkers or chess and I want to earn income. So you start by selling your life 1 hour at a time. Some people start the entrepreneurial route, but you go to make money, you have an adversary in taxes. We can kind of easily recognize that because you earn the money, somebody else takes it. Who the heck is this FICA guy and why does he get my money? But you have adversaries like competitors. You want a job, but you have to beat other people to get it. You have to be more skilled, more eloquent, present yourself better, resume, interview, actually perform the job to keep it. You have competitors out there, just like in the game of chess or checkers. But you also have the people who are trying to take your money. Right? The government isn't trying to take your money. They just take it. In most cases, they get it before you do. That's why retirement accounts are so successful. It's because people can put it in there without the government getting their fingers into it today. So you have advertisers, right? People with master's degrees, years of experience in psychology to play the right sound, use the right lighting, to present you with something that you've never seen before in your life, but you know you just can't live without, to take your money in the game of money. So you've got these advertisers, you've got the government, you've got your boss, you have all of these, like I said, it's not checkers, it's Chinese checkers. You have that star with opponents in multiple directions. You also have scammers. How many times are you going to get a call from somebody over 40 that says, I just got an email from the post office saying I have a package waiting for me and I need to click on their link to log in with my information? Because this points out one of the clearest flaws in the game of money, right? Because when you start playing a game, checkers or chess, if you're brand new and you basically understand the fundamentals, like you are starting out in a job, you understand I'm going to be here for some hours. They're going to give me some money for the hours that I'm here. So I'm going to create value. They're going to make more money than me. That's why I have a job. You get the basics. When you understand that checkers move this way, chess pieces, how do they even move? What's the goal of this? Who's white, who's black, who starts, who's all of these things. You get just the basics. Who can you beat? Who do you win against when you're just starting? You usually have a chance to win against somebody as inexperienced as you. It's pretty rare to play a game of chess with somebody that says, let me teach you how to play chess, unless they let you win, that you beat. Right? Not only do they understand how the pieces move, but somebody who then gets to the next stage of understanding, I'm going to think a couple moves ahead, because that's the beginning stage of chess or checkers. It's that way with money too. You have now figured out how the pieces move. I sell my life 1 hour at a time. I spend time here. I get some money. Well, how do I make money without paying as much taxes? Well, you can grow a side hustle. You can have assets that pay you, so you might not even pay any taxes. Once you learn how the pieces move, there's this next level that you need to go to. When you look at your money, you have, just like in games like chess, stages, multiple stages. You're going to have, like in chess, we've got a start, a beginning game, a mid game, and an end game. And if you start your game of chess, which pieces do you move with? Now that you understand how the pieces move, do you start a defensive position? Do you open by moving your knights? Do you start by attacking the center, which is one of the most common theories? With your money, what do? Do you try to increase your income? Do you try to decrease your spending? Is it roommates? Is it house hacking? Is it geo arbitrage, moving to a lower cost of living area, getting a remote job so you make more than the average income there? You start doing these opening moves. You have decisions to make. Are you going to go to college? Are you going to go to a trade school? Are you going to join the military, right? You've got to think opening moves. You are not reaching financial freedom usually with one or two moves right from the beginning, right? Dave Ramsey did a study, and the Millionaire Next Door did a study, so tens of thousands of data points. On average, 12% of millionaires inherited their wealth. So 88% of us, because that's how math works, got to figure this out on our own. So you got those opening stage moves that you're making. Most people don't realize they've started the game. Those first few decisions can drastically impact how the game goes. If it's a center board fight in a chess game and you don't do any positioning to take that center, you're not going to do so well. So we have those first moves in the chronology of our game of money that you have to think a little longer term, right? Because college, if you go to acquire a degree that is tied to an increased income, will it outbalance the debt? What timeline are you looking for? What's your time horizon on wanting to retire? If you develop a trade, do you have the physical abilities to do that trade? How long will your body do that trade? And can you make an exit plan that happens before your body exits that plan? So we got this beginning stage. We have a mid game in chess, and this is what's really important when it comes to finances. So in chess, people will assign a value to pieces, and it doesn't really correlate to who wins, but if you understand the value of pieces, you might feel better when you start trading pieces. So pawns can be worth 1, bishops and knights are worth 3, rooks are worth 5, queen's worth like 9, and king is priceless because if you take the king, you win the game. So it doesn't have a value, right? So we'll take knights and bishops. They're both worth 3 points. So you don't need to understand how to play chess to understand what I'm about to say. But if two pieces have the same value, they're both valued at 3. I can be remembering that wrong. It's probably 5, but no, I think it's 3. If you have a game that's open, right, there's not a lot of pieces crowding the center. If it's an open game, bishops have more value than a knight because of the way that they move. They can cover greater distances. So if you're planning on retiring early, assets have more value than a retirement account. If you're planning on enjoying a career in a field that you love and working until you're at least 59 and a half and you want to retire with the tax benefits that come from a retirement account, they might hold more value for you. That piece, while it could be equivalent at the start of the conversation, holds more value. If you have a closed mid-game with chess where there's a ton of pieces and moving anything in a straight line or diagonal is challenging, the knights can be more valuable than the bishop, even though they started with the same numerical value. Your retirement account, your income, your expenses can all have different values to you. Because I had such a low income when I started investing, I was making $17 an hour as a CDL instructor after getting laid off from law enforcement after the 2008 housing crash, had a bunch of debt and was raising 3 kids as a single parent. I didn't have a lot of income. So my expenses, my housing cost was the most important, the biggest switch that I could flip. So I moved into an apartment, rented my house out. After 2 years, I bought a duplex. I made moves depending on my mid-game. It wasn't high income. It wasn't all these certificates and degrees and things that could make me hundreds of thousands of dollars or have a $400,000 an hour or $400,000 a year IT job, right? I had a CDL. I've worked as a police officer. I worked in the Marines. I've always had low income jobs. So my expenses had more value than increasing my income, which I ultimately did with assets. So you need to understand your mid-game, which pieces are the most important. Now, the biggest mistake that most people make when it comes to the end game, especially with games like chess, and this can happen in checkers too, but this is the most common outcome in a chess game. So chess players get rated by a number, right? The more times you win versus other numbers, your number can go up. The more times you lose, the number can go down. And the most challenging, so the best chess games happen against almost equally matched people because while they have the same score, they use different strategies. So if you want a challenge in money, in finances, in your game of money, you play against equally matched opponents. You are battling your boss, you're battling taxes, you're doing these things. If you want to win at chess, if the goal is actually to win at chess, you make an account, you lose 1,000 games in a row, and you get your score down to like 200. I don't even know if that's possible. And you play against the 400s that are just starting out so you can stomp them. So you feel that you won, and then you lose a bunch to get your score back down. That's not productive. But in the game of money, how you have the best outcome is to play where you have the advantage. I had the advantage of being single, being, a single parent. I could make a choice on where I live pretty easily without having to fight a spouse on it. That opinion is probably why I'm single so much. So where do you have the advantage? Do you have the advantage and you can make more income? Do you have the advantage and you're willing to house hack? You're willing to do the work of a burr or flip properties to generate capital, or you're willing to learn all of the things about stocks to put your money to work in the most aggressive growth phase or the most stable, safe way? What is your advantage that you can use to put your money to work? Because here's the mistake with chess and checkers at the end. A lot of people will talk about winning or losing. Winning or losing is not the most common outcome, right? You can have statistically this many people win, statistically this many people lose, but forget the average, forget the median. Let's talk mode, my favorite word. What is the most common outcome in checkers or chess or tic-tac-toe? This is how war games ended. You want to play a game? Prove that nobody wins, because the most common outcome in equally matched players is a draw. So some people develop a strategy to win, aggressive growth. They focus on the challenges that have the best returns. And some people focus on not losing, safety, tax deferment, long-term capital gains, compound interest. Like, they use these safe terms to make it, I'm not going to lose. These people are going to try to win. These people are going to try not to lose. If you can start focusing on not having a job, because here's the draw, here's the stalemate that happens with finances. You don't want to take a lot of risks. Investing is gambling. So you put some money in a retirement account. You have barely enough money to survive. You get some Social Security, and you have a retirement at a very late age when you can't enjoy it. But you're not homeless. You don't have to eat cat food every day. That's a real story. You just have a crappy retirement after a very long career. Or if you take the big risks and you lose a bunch of money, you kicked in the teeth a bunch of times, you could end up the mode. 48% of Gen X have zero save for retirement and zero plan to have anything saved for retirement. That's the biggest percentage in my own generation of what people have planned to do, because they're trying to win and they're trying to not lose. Try to not have a stalemate. What is the way that you can put your money to work where you can mitigate the risk, where you can protect your positions, but you're actually going to have an outcome where you can retire young enough to enjoy it, and with enough money to where you don't have to eat the cat food, and you can live anywhere you want? When it comes to money, remember, it's not winning or losing, it's trying to avoid a stalemate. And the way I'll wrap this video up, this is I was trying to make a short live stream on a weekend where I don't really get to see the chat because I'm on my phone. If you want your questions answered during a live stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I will do videos that last as long as the questions do. And my video coming out this week on Tuesday, I'll see you there at 4 o'clock, is going to be on buy where they're building. It's a little more real estate based, but the rest of these videos are trying to get you to think about your finances and realize you were in a game. Like Levita said, life is a game. So is your money. Are you even aware that you're playing? Because in the game of money, when you are successful, you will be suspicious of your friends. Before you're successful, your friends are going to be suspicious of your goals. Have a day full of awesome.